Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Medico Voice. Today's topic is repair and healing. It's the last topic of inflammation chapter. So let's start the topic. First of all, we should know the definition of repair. What is repair? Repair is a process of replacement of destroyed tissue by the living tissue. Repair can be done by two ways. First one by the process of regeneration and the second one by the process of healing. Regeneration is a process of conversion of injured tissue into normal by the active proliferation of residual cells as well as maturation of the stem cells. What is a stem cell? Stem cells are the cells having self-renewable and proliferative properties. Now come to the examples of regeneration. Regeneration of liver following partial hepatectomy. Partial hepatectomy means removal of some part of the liver which will lead to complete regeneration of liver after some time. Second example is endometrium undergo reepithelialization and regeneration following breakdown during menstruation. Menstruation is a phase during menstrual cycle during which the endometrium layer of the uterus undergo breakdown and finally it will undergo reepithelialization after some time. So next example is reepithelialization of wound following injury. Now come to the process of healing. What is healing? Healing is a process by which lost tissue is replaced by the fibrous tissue or scar. What can be the examples of healing? First one is skin healing. When only epidermis layer of the skin suffers a cut, the epidermal cell regenerate to heal. But if the cut or incision damage the dermis, healing occurs through scar formation. That means the process of healing results in a scar formation only if the cut or incision damages the dermis layer of the skin. But if only epidermal layer of the skin is damaged, then there will be only regeneration and healing but no scar formation. Next example is inflamed pericardium heals by fibrosis causing adhesion between the two layers of pericardium. Next example is gastric ulcer heals by fibrosis causing a number of gastric deformities like pyloric stricture, etc. And the last example of healing is cirrhosis of liver, which will also lead in scar formations. Now come to the steps involved in tissue repair and regeneration. After having tissue injury, there will be signs of inflammation seen at the site of injury, and after having the process of inflammation, there will be cell proliferation, that is proliferation and migration of epithelial and connective tissue cells. After having the process of proliferation, there will be formation of new blood vessels at the site of tissue injury. That process is called as angiogenesis. After having the process of angiogenesis, there will be formation of granulation tissue. Granulation tissue is a kind of connective tissue which help in the process of repair and regeneration. And finally, there will be healing. After having the process of healing, there will be either fibrosis or scar formation. And finally, after having the process of healing, there will be remodeling of healed connective tissue. That is, the tissue that has undergone injury will regain its normal architecture after having the process of healing. Now come to the processes of wound healing. Wound healing of tissue may be done or produced in the skin by two ways. First one is healing by first intention. First intention healing is usually occur in clean and uninfected surgical incision which can be closed by surgical sutures. What are the changes that are seen during the process of healing by first intention? First one is initial effect. During initial effect, the Narrow incisional space is immediately filled with blood clot due to initial hemorrhage, and the clot that has accumulated in the incisional space will dry up and form the scab. Like in the figure given below, these are the epithelial cells, and this is the incisional area, incisional space where the blood clot is filled in the incision, and below the layer of dermis there is dermal layer of the skin. Now come to the next changes that are seen during first intention. Within 24 hours, there will be accumulation of neutrophil at the margin of incision, and the rows of migrating cells fuse in the middle, producing a continuous thin epithelial layer that covers the wound surface below the clot. In the figure, neutrophils are seen at the margin of incisional space that is seen within 24 hours of tissue injury. Now come to the third day. What happened on third day? The neutrophil that has accumulated at the margin of incision will be replaced by macrophages, and the granulation tissue start forming and fills the incisional space. After having formation of the granulation tissue, there will be formation of collagen fiber at the margin of incision that will lay down vertically. Now the next process is, during third day there will be also thickening. During third day there will be also thickening of the epithelial layer due to proliferation of epithelial cell and migration of epithelial cell along the incised margin. What happened on fifth day? On fifth day there will be formation of granulation tissue which will completely fill up the incisional space, and the process of neovascularization is at its peak. Neovascularization is a process of formation of new blood vessels. Collagen laying down is in the large amount and start bridging the incisional gap. There will be large amount for the formation of collagen, and that will bridge the incisional gap. There will also epithelial cell proliferation which will complete and restore the normal thickness and differentiation of epidermis. In the diagram given below, this is the epidermal layer of the skin, and these are the new blood vessels, new capillaries that are formed at the site of injury, and at the margin of incision there is presence of macrophages which has replaced the neutrophil. Now come to the seventh day. On seventh day there will be continued accumulation of collagen and proliferation of the fibroblast, and there will be also inflammatory cells, edema, and increased vascularity disappears. At the end of first month there will be formation of scar which is covered by epidermis. There will be permanent loss of skin appendages in the scar area, that is also called the line of incision, and the tensile strength of the injured tissue keep on increasing, and it will become maximum at the end of first month. In the diagram, these are the collagen fibers which are formed in large amount that will bridge the gap between incision, and there is formation of regenerated epithelium, that is the epithelium of the skin that has injured have regenerated, and there is presence of fibroblast as well. Now come to the second process of healing, that is healing by second intention. This is also called secondary union or healing by granulation tissue. Healing by granulation tissue is a misnomer because healing by granulation tissue means granulation tissue formation occurs in this healing by second intention, but not only in second intention, there will be formation of granulation tissue in the healing by first intention as well. Second intention healing takes place in case of large wound due to trauma or inflammation. Following changes are seen in case of second intention. During initial effect, there will be extensive tissue loss which will completely or immediately filled with blood which soon clot, and the blood clot that has filled the incisional gap dries up and form the scab. This process is similar in case of initial effect during the healing by first intention, and thus there will be surrounding tissue inflammation as well. In the figure, there is large incisional gap is seen which has completely filled with the blood clot, and these are the epidermal cell of the skin, and below the epidermal cells there is presence of inflammatory cells. On second to third day during healing by second intention, there will be wound contraction due to contraction of the myofibroblast. Epithelial cell migration occurs between the connective tissue floor of the wound and the surface clot. On third to fifth day, there will be formation of granulation tissue at the wound edge and the base. The area that has lost during injury of the tissue is replaced by the granulation tissue. In the diagram, these are the regenerating epidermis of the skin, and these are the fibroblast cells which are formed during the process of healing, and this is the scab which is formed after the blood clot dries up and the scab getting pushed out from the incisional space. Now come to what happened on 5th to 7th day. On 5th to 7th day, the migrating epithelial cells soon cover the granulation tissue and forms a regenerating epidermis. The scab thus pushed slowly up and finally gets detached. And the next thing that happens is edema and increased vascularity slowly disappear, and there will be increased accumulation of collagen and fibroblast, which will finally lead to the scar formation. In the diagram, the incisional gap which is formed during tissue injury is completely healed up, and now there is a scar formation after the process of healing. These are the healed epidermis of the skin, and below which collagen or scar formation are laying down. The tensile strength of the injured tissue in case of healing by second intention is regained after 7 to 10 days or after 3 months. After 7 to 10 days, there will be 10% of the original tensile strength regained, and after 3 months 80% of the original tensile strength is regained. So these all are the information about repair and healing. So hope you like the video. Do like, share and subscribe my channel, and hit the bell icon for more notification on important topics of the medical videos. Thank you.